Hi, I'm Bob Rose. Welcome to this tutorial from the new Trinity Grade 8 2023. This is Hoe-down by Colley. I love this piece. I love it. But oh my God, this is one of the most difficult Grade 8 pieces I've ever tried to learn, ever. And I think probably not helped by the fact that I really kind of wanted to play it a little faster than the tempo marking. I guess if I'd have played it all at the recommended tempo marking, it's probably not quite as difficult, although still pretty difficult. But I just feel that crochet equals 112, it's just too slow, I think, especially when he says furioso. Now, by the way, I do recommend that you have the sheet music open in front of you if you're serious about learning this. You're not just kind of watching this video to kill time, but you're actually serious about learning the piece. Have the sheet music open in front of you so you can see all the bar numbers that I'm talking about. Also, I did actually record a performance on YouTube, so there'll be a link above and a link below in the description. Do watch that and you'll see me playing it. Yeah, basically, it's really worth watching Colley's YouTube channel to see how he plays this piece. There's a lot of things that he does that are different from what's in this book in terms of how he interprets it, in terms of dynamics. Also, there's a lot of different notes as well. And actually, when you look at the sheet music for the first page that's on his YouTube channel, there are notes that are actually different from what's in this Trinity book, which is weird. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just going to do the notes that Trinity have put here. But I do wonder why are there different notes in this Trinity version? So I don't know the answer to that. And I wonder if part of the reason why it's so difficult is that because some of the notes that are different in this one make it just a little bit weirder and more difficult to have under the hands. I don't know. I can't answer this. But anyway, it's worth listening to his version. Now, I think that when he plays it, it's kind of too slow. It does sound like... just turn that up a little bit. Now, it's not quite that slow. I am kind of exaggerating, but that's how it feels to me when I'm listening to him play it. So let me just grab a metronome. Right, so I've got the metronome set up now. This is the metronome at... oops, sorry, microphone. This is the microphone. This is the metronome at 112. So, yeah, I guess it's not that slow. I guess it's not too bad. I kind of worked out that I preferred it at something like 129, which is something more like this. And so on and so on. Because, you know, it says furioso. To me, it's not just Hoe-down. This is like something that you would play... on steel string finger picking guitar, or it's kind of like a banjo. It's this kind of thing. Now, just before recording this, I did actually pick up my guitar to see how doable it is on the guitar. It doesn't quite completely translate over to the guitar, but I want to show you more or less what this sounds like on the guitar, because this is what I'm hearing in my mind as I play it. So let me just gradually see if I can speed that up a little bit, because it's really hard. So yeah, I mean, that's something like that. It's really hard to play, really difficult. But then the next bit's not too hard. Now, bear in mind that this isn't really a style of guitar that I play a lot, and I don't play the guitar all that much at the moment. So I'm not really in practice with guitar. So you know, bearing that in mind, from bar 3, and also I really need finger picks for this kind of style, which I don't have, or nails, because obviously I can't have nails when I'm playing the piano. Now, if I play that at tempo marking 112, I think that's a little bit too slow, really. So we've got... Actually, that's not too bad. But if you play it on the piano at that speed, it doesn't sound quite that fleet, if you know what I mean. Doesn't quite give you that same sense of excitement that it has on the guitar. Now, the thing that you want to kind of think about, which is why, you know, a lot of the time when we play the piano, this especially applies to classical music, but other styles as well like this, we want to bear in mind that a lot of the time we're not trying to sound like a piano. I can't overemphasize this enough. Most of the time when we play the piano, we're actually trying to imagine different sounds of different instruments and trying to create that. A lot of the time it's singing, but you know, some of it might be violins, it might be the woodwind, but here it's a guitar or banjos or this kind of thing. So what we've got on the guitar, we've got 6 different strings, and I'm plucking these different strings. Now here, on these notes, I'm doing something that's called hammer-ons. So I'm not actually using my right hand. So we've got all these different kinds of sounds. They're all different strings. They all kind of ring out and resonate and have different sounds. And then here, I play with my right hand, I hammer on with my left hand, I hammer on with my left hand. So that's just hammering on with my left hand. And then I play the open string, and an open string sounds different to when I pluck it. When I fret it with my left hand. So we've got fretted, fretted, open, open, hammer on, open string, fretted. And it gives it this kind of, every single note sounds slightly different. And this is a little bit, I think, what he's going for when you're constantly crossing hands, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. It's this kind of same thing that you get from crossing all these different strings and having these different kinds of textures. But it's all got to be taka 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 taka. So you'll notice that when I hammer on, I'm not just going, you know, it's got to be, so it's the same thing on the piano. It's got to be rhythmically super even. But this is the kind of sound you're going for. And then the next bit's too difficult to play on the guitar, really, but you know, it's kind of and you know, it's all this kind of finger picking kind of stuff. So from the beginning, this is hard. This is really hard on a guitar. And then so, you know, that's the kind of thing. And, you know, forgive me for my very rusty guitar playing there. I just think it's really important to give you an idea of the kind of things that you want to be hearing in your mind, which is not just the piano. So I was talking before that the rhythm's got to be really, really even. This is partly why this piece is so difficult. It's incredibly hard to play all this sort of... whatever it all is. By the way, it's been a week since I recorded it, and so I'm probably a little bit rusty with it because I haven't really touched it in a week. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, and I will be making a video soon about this, the number one thing that I recommend to do when you're playing constant streams of semiquavers or 16th notes, I think they are. So constant stream of 16th notes or semiquavers, anything that's fast, that just has lots of continuous notes. I can do this for the first 2 beats. I like doing this thing called shifting accents. So what I do is I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And then I can't really continue from there because suddenly the rhythm changes there. But then what I can do, I can loop that. So what basically I'm starting on the first note. 1 is super loud, 2 is super quiet, and I really exaggerate. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now, I can start the other way around, start on 2. I'm starting on the same note, but this time I'm starting on 2. So the first note is quiet. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Don't rush this. You might need to go slower, like 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. It's really difficult. Basically, watch the video that I'm going to be releasing soon on how to do shifting accents to get a little bit more information about this. So then I could loop it 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then basically every time it goes round. So if I start with a 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, starting with a 2 means that the notes that were loud are now quiet, and the notes that were quiet are now loud. And it's really good at basically getting your finger independence going so that everything sounds really, really even. Then you do it in groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not that fast though. And then start with 3, say 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on, working your way through. Then I can start to do that from the 3rd beat of bar 1, from where you've got the G, E, D, and I can do that basically all the way down until somewhere at the bottom of the page, or maybe, but yeah, I think somewhere near the bottom of that page is where you can do that all the way through to, with a constant stream of 16th notes of semiquavers. So if I go from the halfway through beat 3, and let's say that I decide to do this in groups of 3, starting on 1, I can go 1, start again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But in the beginning, I recommend that you do this in very, very short sections, because it's really about building muscle memory. And so the shorter the sections are, the better. So let's say that I just do... it's a bit too big a chunk still, but let's go from that same place until the end of that line. So in groups of 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now I'm going too quickly there, because really I was kind of cheating and not using all the same exact fingering and hand distribution that I would do in the original. But you basically do it using all the proper fingering. It's incredibly difficult. But once you've done that, and especially focus on how your 4th finger feels when it has the strong accents, because then if you do that enough, you're just going to have, instead of and it's all just a mess, you can have something more like taka 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 taka. Everything's just going to be much more taka 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 taka, which is the key to making this sound good, and that's really not easy. And when I listen back to my performance, there are some places where I'm like, oh, that wasn't very rhythmically even there, ouch, because I try and record these pieces like as quickly as I can without being too slapdash about it. I can always practice them for longer. So there are some places like from the melody, and by the way, in bar 5 where you start to have the melody is this, in my opinion. So it's not just like, and it's not just a mass of notes. It should sound more like, so. So you actually have a tune there. The composer hasn't marked the tune very carefully here, because really from what he's put in bar 5, according to Rob Colley, the melody is and I don't think that is the melody, because if it was he's actually put an accent on the first G, which says to me that he wants that G as part of the melody, but then he should have put the stem going up. But I won't get too much into that. But I think the melody is, and everything else is just kind of filler. And I think, like here, 3, 4, 2, here, to get even rhythm is so hard. Taka taka tak, taka 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 taka. Now, when you play fast, that's so difficult. Or even the tempo marking. But yeah, I never actually did show you the tempo markings. So let me take it up to 120, 129. It makes so much more sense to me like this. and so on and so on. It just gives it much more of this yeehaw kind of flavour, you know, which Hoe-down is supposed to be yeehaw, you know, whereas like I just think Crotchet 112 it's just not very yeehaw, you know. Crotchet 112. Whatever it is. It's way too relaxed in my opinion. It's not furioso. It's not like yeehaw and you know like this very fast finger picking on the guitar. You know the nice thing about finger picking on the guitar is you get this. You won't be able to hear the guitar so well, but you know this kind of feeling. It's actually not that difficult to just pull strings with your right hand. So, you know, you want that kind of feeling to it, in my opinion. It seems very clear to me. You want this finger picking. So anyway, I hope I've kind of made the case for taking it at that speed. But then the problem when you go faster is the incredibly difficult bit at bar 28. Oh my God, this is so difficult. Bar 28 is excruciatingly, 23. It's because it's dark in here. So I'm sorry, yeah, bar 23 is excruciatingly hard. For one thing, it's difficult to read it and play because your hands are jumping about all over the place. So what I did, and I do kind of recommend doing this if you can, in the end, I just ended up memorizing bars 23 to 30, which is not easy. It's so difficult to memorize. It's just like all the patterns keep changing. So I'm not sure if I've still memorized it because this was a week ago. I've not completely memorized it. It's gone a little out of my memory. But even if you don't fully memorize it, what you might want to do is be able to read the sheet music here, 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 here. Oh, sorry, that's a G sharp. Here, 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 here. And then all the chromatic stuff. Just memorize all of that so that you're really just looking for this note, 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 so that if you are trying to read it from the music, you can't read every single note. That's just way too difficult. And even just reading those is still pretty tricky because you have to look and see where you're going. Now, you don't have to all the time. Let's see. Yeah, I have to look at my left hand here. I have to look at my left hand there. Don't need to look at anything here. Helps to look at the right hand here. I absolutely need to look at my left hand here. I need to look at my left hand here. I don't need to look at any of this. Don't need to look at any of this. I need to look at the left hand here. But there's so many things that you need to look and see what you're doing. It's just easier if you just memorize it. Oh my God, this is so difficult. Now to play at 129, which is kind of my preferred speed, it took me quite a few days. It took me actually over a week. I think it took me to properly get this down. Not easy. Oh, I still memorized it. That was all memorized. I can't believe that after a week of not playing it, I still memorized it. That's how difficult it was. It was so difficult that I had to put so much mental effort into memorizing it. A week later, I can still remember it, and that is not normal for me. So I had to work hard to memorize that. Yeah. This is by far the most difficult section at whatever speed you're going to use, So basically my recommendation is start learning it from bar 23. Don't just start at the beginning because the beginning isn't quite as difficult. Bar 23 is really difficult. Then the next most difficult bit is from bar 43. Oh my God, this is so difficult. The page turn doesn't help as well. I more or less memorized it, more or less. But I can't quite remember it now. Yeah, because you can't be reading that. It's way too difficult to read off the sheet music. And I think when I performed it, I slowed down just a little bit for that, because it's kind of musical to slow it down for that bit anyway. Also, if you don't get the right fingering for these chords in bar 43, whatever it all is, and I actually wrote all my fingerings on a different piece of paper. I didn't actually write it on the score. I printed it out. So if you watch my YouTube performance, there is a reason why I filmed it from the top down and not like the other videos I've been doing recently from this angle. I specifically filmed it from the top down so that you guys could watch it, see what fingerings I'm using. You can slow it down. There on YouTube, there are options to slow it down, so you can watch it, slow it down, and see what fingers I'm putting on what notes. Because especially from bar 45, if you follow my fingerings, it's so much easier to play. If you're not using good fingerings, it becomes exponentially more difficult to pull off. So yeah, I really recommend like mostly memorizing those sections. So tricky. While it's on my mind as well, because I did actually record this tutorial before, and then it didn't actually record properly. It stopped recording from about 3 minutes in. I was like, oh my God, I've got to do it all again. And then I realized there was something that I didn't really talk about all that much. So basically, your wrist can move in 3 different axes. You've got up and down, like this. You've got like twisty, rotating like this, and then you've got lateral like this. So this way around as well, you've got up and down, you've got rotating, and you've got lateral. Now, in places like, especially from bar 45, but there's all kinds of other places where you're going to need this. In fact, maybe really 43 is where you're gonna need this more. You're going to want to experiment with as you play the chords, and you can watch my YouTube performance to see how important this is in the way that I play. As you play all these different chords, you want to experiment with pulling your wrist round in different directions just to make it all a little bit easier. I think especially, yeah. It's especially from bar 43. Yeah, especially 44. Yeah, twist to the right, twist to the left, twist to the right, twist to the left, because then you can get much better fingerings, combinations of fingers to put in that bar. Otherwise, you're just going to have to use the same fingers over and over again if you don't do that twisty thing with your wrist. It's so much more difficult. And then something else that I forgot to mention, in the excruciatingly difficult bit from bar 23, now here, catching these notes in bar 26 is really difficult. And I found that after a while, what I did was to get the first note of bar 26, I basically just spread my fingers really wide and just land. I just go wham on the keys. I don't know how clearly you can see this, but if like a key, say this is a black key, my finger lands on it like this, so I just can't miss. And like for this finger, it's like I just can't miss it. I splay my fingers, make them really flat, so that I just can't miss those notes, especially as they're black keys. So I just splay my fingers out and just like really go diagonally on them so that you just can't miss. Which means, again, you're going to have to do lateral rotations of your wrist. So from the bar before, I go really wide and then just whack down. What I don't do is I don't land on the fingertips and try to be really precise. That's almost impossible. I just make them very diagonal so that you just can't miss. And then this one's harder, so I really splay out my fingers. But basically, slow down my performance video and watch and see what I'm doing there to make those bits easier. And then on the next bit, coming up to bar 28, I take some time in beat 4. As soon as I let go of the left hand, so as soon as I play beat 4 of bar 27 and I lift my left hand, I immediately race down to get ready to play that 10th. If you can't play a 10th, I'm not quite sure what you should do. Maybe you need to do something like that. But basically, if you watch me play that 10th in bar 28 on the performance video and slow it down, you'll see, and I've spoken about this in other videos, you'll see that I can barely stretch that. I'm just used to grabbing them fairly quickly, but I can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, then just suddenly get it. That's way too difficult. It takes me at least a whole beat to kind of set that up so that I can play that comfortably. So I get there early so that then I can grab that. My little finger has barely got the edge of it, and my thumb has barely got the edge of it. But if I've got the whole beat to prepare for it, I can just about get it. So that was something I forgot to mention before when the video didn't work. So basically, from bar 5, again, you know, practice it with shifting accents. Now, a lot of the time when I describe how to do shifting accents, I'm describing doing it in only one hand. This is a little bit unusual in that here I'm doing shifting accents in both hands. So if I do it from bar 5 in, I would go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. But, you know, if I do it in groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you can see that I am actually doing it hands together. So it isn't that one hand just has a constant stream of semiquavers or 16th notes, but at some point, like every time I count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like every single new note, there is a new semiquaver or 16th note in one hand or the other. That's a little bit more tricky than the normal way of doing shifting accents, but it's so worth it because you do want this you know, and so on and so on. I wasn't doing it very well there, but because I've got a giant microphone in my way, but you know, you get the idea. Now, it's also worth listening to how Rob plays it on his YouTube channel, because there are some places which are really different from what is written down. And I did notice on the Trinity official recording, they do this as well. Now in bar 11, the way it's written down is taka, 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 taka. But that's not how Rob plays it, and that's not how they play it on the official recording. It's as if, so the B and the E, in the first note of the right hand in bar 11, and hopefully you do have your music open in front of you, instead of going semiquaver, semiquaver, or 16th note, 16th note, instead of going ta-ka-ta, it's as if the B and the E are achacaturas leading to the C sharp. So it's more like, and it's more like these are achacaturas going, so it's as if the C sharp is actually on the second half of that beat, not in the final semiquaver 16th note. So it's like 1 and 2, 1 E and So instead of 1 E and 2, it's 1 E and. So something like that. So that, I think, sounds pretty good instead of... It's not. It's really... And it's also worth listening to Rob's version because he does sort of have different dynamic levels everywhere. You might want to be influenced by him rather than read it exactly as it is in the book, or just kind of do it your own way. Like, something else that might be worth pointing out is that in bar 5, it's probably better not to play it forte. It's probably better to play it piano. Bring the melody out, make the melody forte, but make everything else quiet. That would normally be written as P, where you use your own intuition to play the melody more forte. So like, instead of going... something more like which is more like how Rob plays it. I am a little bit out of practice here. I'm a bit rusty, so forgive me for that. And then, you know, you might want to put your own little touches in. Like, for example, in bar 9, I quite liked... And I quite like making that A and C sharp on the third beat very staccato. So I didn't do that there. You could do that. I'm not sure I would do that there, but you know, just experiment with it and do little things to pull it around if you want to. I think. So you especially want to do shifting accents in bar 23 because it's so difficult. And shifting accents is something I do when I really want to memorize something or learn something incredibly difficult. So, you know, to get this kind of fluid, it's all in my bones, in my muscle memory. That would be impossible for me without doing shifting accents. So yeah, I do recommend that. What else can I say about this? It's yes, the very final note. I think that Rob has written the rhythm wrong for this. When you see the way that he plays it, it's like... Now, you slow down. So let's say I'm going from bar 55 and I'm really, really slowing down because he's put molto rit in the line above. So say we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're really slowing down on that final beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's not what he plays, and it sounds weird. I tried doing that for ages and I couldn't make it sound good. He actually does this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, because he's been slowing down in beat 4 of bar 55, it sounds like there's a bit of a pause, but it's not. It's actually right on the first beat. So I think what I did is I kind of did that, but with a little bit of a small pause. So we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. But if I play, let's say that I play from bar 51 and I play it the way that he's written, it's just weird. So what have we got? I think you'll probably agree that just sounds wrong. So I would just take the risk there of getting a wrong mark because that just doesn't sound right. And that's not how Rob plays it. Rob plays it like, if I go from the same place, bar 51. Hang on. Which is as if it was on the first beat. So I've run out of time really for to say much more. Do enjoy it. It's a fun piece. I think it's not going to be for everybody's taste. I think on the on the Trinity official recording, there's a bit too much pedal, and that's another thing as well. I think that Rob's pedal markings, if they are Rob's pedal markings, they're weird. I prefer less pedal on all of that. What I do with a lot of this is I half pedal. Pedaling isn't binary. It's not either down or up, depending on your digital piano as well, obviously. But you want to experiment with just the minimum pedal. So I can... That's no pedal. This is all pedal. This is just... Yeah, I've just got a tiny bit of pedal there. It's just a tiny bit of pedal. For those of you who drive, this is like just finding the biting point of the clutch. Just the tiniest bit of pedal. That's what I recommend for this. Maybe have a bit more pedal here. But if I was to record it again, I would actually use less pedal. I think the pedal sort of gets rid of some of this hoe-down feeling to it. So anyway, yes, I'd better go before the recording runs out of space. I do have availability for online students, for people who are interested in being students. But basically, do please, if you enjoyed this video and if it was useful, do please like it, subscribe, because I've got lots of good videos coming up. Subscribe to be notified when I've got new videos and tutorials coming up. So go do some practice or watch another one of my videos and have fun with it, and take care. Bye.